Welcome to Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe, and hype video. Join members to gain early access to new videos.
The main character, after dying in his previous life, he wakes up inside of Naruto. He and Madara decides to change the ninja world. How's he gonna change the ninja world?
For help. Don't let her young age fool you. When it comes to domestic affairs, she's far more capable than you. How do I close this laptop? To close the laptop, simply close it. But a dignified usura of the ninja world wouldn't get so angry over a few words, would he? Zowo tilde hehe. Who is this person? Madara Uchiha rested his right hand on his forehead and couldn't help but smile. Knowing this guy is really bad luck. They also have to protect the village for him. Really? Thanks. You're protecting Sunrise Village for me. This is where my dream began. Ban closed his notebook slightly and looked up at the moon, which was almost a full moon. Unfortunately, it is not yet completely perfect. In March of the 18th year of Konoha, Kyujen passed away, and Uchiha Madara officially took over as the village chief of Hatsuhi Village. Volume 2, Ban's Days as Village Chief. Chapter 31, The Village Chief is Tired. Lord Ban, please try to complete the review of these documents today. He, Uchiha Madara, the Usura of the ninja world and the current village chief of Hatsuhi Village, is facing a great crisis. Little Hui, does Yuan have such a heavy workload every day? Ban gestured with his hand to indicate that the documents, which added up to nearly half a meter in height, twitched at the corner of his eye. It wasn't this exaggerated when he was studying internal affairs a few days ago. Of course not. Kiyo Megumi, clutching her notebook, answered with certainty. My brother's daily workload is twice that of this place, and it will take almost 3 hours to research new ninjutsu. Is he even human? Madara Uchiha picked up the first document, which listed the recent profits, distribution range, and number and types of businesses operated by Wanshinghang in the 5 major countries. These types of documents require him to confirm whether the business plan is correct and to understand whether the revenue is normal. Lord Ban, I have already screened these documents. Kiyo Megumi sighed. As the village chief, I must understand all the industries in our village and decide on the key areas for future development, especially in the economic and military aspects. Whether to prioritize economic development or military development will be up to you to decide. Madara Uchiha naturally knew this. Page 39. But the economy alone is divided into many categories, which gives him a headache. Planning the economy is indeed somewhat difficult for Ban Darren. My brother is exceptionally gifted. He can easily understand the general situation of the village from various data and make decisions quickly. Madara Uchiha took out a report from another pile of documents. The above is a request from the school principal for funding to expand the dormitory area in order to accommodate more war orphans and children from the village. Zairo Hui, what's your suggestion? Kiyo Megumi squinted at Madara, making Madara feel a chill down his spine and dare not speak. Lord Ban, I remember I just talked about this kind of question 2 days ago. Madara Uchiha sighed and put his hand to his forehead, looking somewhat aggrieved. I've only been the village chief for less than 7 days, and 6 days of training is simply not enough. Why don't you decide on these documents for me, Zairo Hui? Kiyo Megumi directly and firmly refused. No. This is the power and duty of the village chief. I can offer suggestions to Lord Madara, but the decision must be made by Lord Madara. Please review the documents quickly, Lord Ban. Afterwards, I need to send these documents to the archives and enter them into the computer. Amount. All right, I guess I'll just have to bite the bullet and get on with it. Ban had no choice but to pick up a pen and begin reviewing the documents. Time passed slowly, and Ban was completely immersed in his work. Even though he felt a headache coming on, seeing the helpful little notes attached to the documents gave him suggestions, and he gradually learned how to handle the situation. Yuan's younger sister is indeed very capable at work. Just as Yuan said, he was miles ahead of him. The more documents Ban reviewed, the better he understood the village. Even in a peaceful village like Churi, conflicts still arise among the villagers. Mediating these conflicts falls under the purview of the security service. The purpose of this report was simply to let him know what conflicts might arise, what troubles the people might have, and to let him understand the state of people's lives. Economic, cultural, educational, and military strength. To become a qualified daimyo, one must have a comprehensive understanding of these things. At the same time, it is also necessary to know people well and make good use of them, so as to unite everyone's strength and make the development of the entire force advance by leaps and bounds. Amazing. The more carefully Ban pondered the policies left by Gen, the more he felt admiration for Gen. If he and Hashirama stood at the pinnacle of ninjas, then Genji stood at the pinnacle of daimyo. With him around, the people under his rule are truly living better and better lives. And Ban picked up a 20-year plan document. This document is further subdivided into 5-year periods. This includes strategies such as using school education to cultivate talent in management, combat, commerce, construction, and culture. The gradual economic influence of the Wanshinghang caravan on the 5 major powers, and using cultural resources such as novels to infiltrate the minds of ordinary people. The most important strategy was to adopt war orphans through the Wanshan Company, which was spread across the 5 major countries and various smaller countries, and to educate them to maintain a unified consciousness in Churi village. Konoha suffers from the problem of clan influence over power. The lack of ideological unity often prevents the forces from coalescing, thus limiting its development speed. In contrast, Churi village has a strict division of labor, with professionals doing specialized tasks and everyone developing according to a plan. The village chief, as the highest-ranking official, is the link between all forces, needing to delegate authority appropriately while maintaining overall control over the direction of development. This is a very profound field of knowledge. Ban said that, according to the above statement, he, the newly appointed village chief, seems to be very unprofessional. Madara-sama. Suddenly, Uchiha Madara, who had finished processing most of the documents, looked up and saw Kiyoari standing at the door with a steaming hot meal. Lord Ban, it's lunch break time. Uncle Ban, I've brought lunch. Kiyoari forced a smile, her face showing obvious dark circles from lack of sleep. Ah, good. Madara Uchiha suddenly stood up and walked to the sofa and table in the corner of the room. This is a rest area, and it's also convenient for eating. Zairo Ari, get some sleep. Hearing Ban's somewhat awkward concern, Kiyoari scratched her face, feeling a little embarrassed. I'm not used to sleeping with my brother at night. Okay. So you guys sleep together at night. What kind of life does that kid Yuan enjoy at night? Zairo Hui, aren't you going to eat? Kiyo Megumi took out a rice ball and started nibbling on it in small bites. Ban looked at the large amount of fish and meat in front of him and suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Lord Ban, this is enough for me. This rice ball is a special food made by the Research Institute of Technology, which can meet my needs for a day's work. Compared to these, Lord Ban, you have other work to do this afternoon. Ban suddenly remembered. The construction of a large, interconnected barrier sufficient to cover the entire village, as well as Lei Yumen and his team's combat training. Kiyo Megumi revealed Madara's recent plans. The construction of the barrier was something they had agreed upon beforehand. Previously, Hatsuhi Village did not have the means to construct a super-large barrier, so only the Research Institute area had a fully covered spherical barrier, and only designated personnel could enter. Now, with Madara's formidable strength as their support, the barrier squad within the security force has gradually mastered the scrolls left behind by Genji, and is ready to begin constructing a fully covered barrier. If it weren't for the severe impact of Yuan's assassination, they probably wouldn't have built the barrier ahead of time. With this barrier in place, they can truly control all personnel inside Churi village and identify the murderer who infiltrated the village. But I haven't finished reviewing the documents yet. Madara Uchiha looked at the remaining quarter of the document and felt quite troubled. Lord Ban, please work overtime tonight to finish it. I will stay with you. Hiss Tilda. Seeing Kiyo Megumi's unquestionable expression, Uchiha Madara nodded helplessly. At this moment, Kiyo Megumi took a deep breath, as if she wanted to say something. She bowed slightly and spoke in a loud voice. Lord Madara, please guide me and Ari in our ninja training. Beside her, Kiyo Ari also bowed quickly. Uncle Ban. This is trouble. Madara Uchiha put down his fork and sighed. My training is very rigorous. Kiyo Megumi raised her head, her voice firm. Zyro Ari, and I don't want to be helpless in the face of unexpected situations in the future. 4-9. Please grant my request. Bang closed his eyes and nodded slowly. I understand. I will be in charge of your combat training. You can ask me if you have any questions. Both of them breathed a sigh of relief. This is troublesome. Chapter 32. The Devoted Village Chief. More than half a month later, Madara Uchiha, the village chief of Hatsuhi Village, was unleashing his full power on training ground no. 1. Dancing non-stop. Pure. Boom. Page 40. Oh. The 20 ninjas and samurai on the field were knocked down one after another and lay on the ground. Beside him, Lan waved her hand, and the medical staff moved the person lying on the ground out of the training field to begin examination and treatment. Meanwhile, the next group of people waiting in the corner were trembling with fear. They're about to get beaten up. After working for a while, Village Chief Ban was finally able to skillfully review the documents processed by Kiyo Megumi. Therefore, in order to show that he, as the village chief, was not much inferior to Genji, Madara Uchiha decided to personally strengthen the village's military capabilities. Don't just stand there. Are you just going to stand there and wait to die when facing a fast enemy? Use your full senses to perceive, and don't miss any opportunity. Intensify chakra control training. The new batch of people will also be beaten for 10 minutes. During this time, Madara will use his experience to correct their combat skills. Although the effect was limited due to the short time, the experience of fighting against a ninja like him will help these people perform better on the battlefield. Just like when he trained Ukiwa, if one can muster the courage to face an enemy head-on, then one can be mentally prepared to encounter a powerful enemy. As a result, all 864 combatants in the village suffered. Everyone had the experience of fighting the legendary ninja, the Shura of the ninja world. Although most of them could only last a second or two before collapsing and becoming motionless, and then being forcibly pulled up to continue being beaten. The numbers and the strength are both insufficient. Madara recalled the data on the military strength of Hatsuhi village, and compared with Konoha, the gap was still too large. There are 2 elite Jonin, 11 Jonin, 368 Chunin, and the rest are Genin. The flowing technique seal has been deployed to all combat personnel, and the heaven and earth furnace is being set up. Ultimately, there are very few people who have the talent to refine chakra into physical energy, which is a mixture of physical and mental energy produced by 130 trillion cells in their body. On top of that, there are even fewer people with ninja talent. The flowing law seal has already raised the minimum combat strength of the initial Sun village. Once the heaven and earth furnace is also deployed to everyone, the army can be strengthened by consuming a large amount of resources. However, since everyone's aptitude is different, the efficiency of absorption and transformation will naturally vary. The Research and Development Institute, RDI, has been continuously researching new military rations to enhance the physical fitness of combat personnel, in accordance with its original plan. But that's not enough. Madara Uchiha knew very well that this power was far from enough. He needs even greater strength, and Churi village needs even more and stronger troops. Lord Ban, you've worked hard. Lan handed Ban a bottle of high-energy sports drink. With a series of gulp-gulp-gulp sounds, Ban finished the entire bottle of sports drink in one go. Lan, how are the preparations for maintaining the barrier going? Lan bowed slightly and replied, "Thanks to Lord Madara's help, the barrier team has completed 90% of the work. After this setup is complete, the village will be completely surrounded by the barrier. If someone from outside the village comes in, the barrier will definitely detect it." He nodded, then casually tossed the plastic bottle into the trash, come with pinpoint accuracy. "Then let's hurry up and finish setting up the last place." As soon as he finished speaking, Ban strode towards the last location. Lan quickly followed. Over the past 2 weeks, Ban has proven to everyone that he is truly trying to be an excellent village chief. Although there is still much to learn, it is clear that Ban is developing in a positive direction. They were able to set aside their pride and strive to make the expansion of Churi village their primary goal. Try to unite everyone and maintain their connection as a leader. Although it is still somewhat immature, everyone sees hope. Master Spot. Ban turned around and looked at Lan with a questioning gaze. The Cherry Blossom Festival officially begins tomorrow. Zyro Yuan would always invite us to enjoy the cherry blossoms together around this time. Ban was taken aback, then understood what Lan meant. "I'll call Lei Yumen and the others." Lan nodded. Building good relationships with one's subordinates is an essential skill for any leader. Kiyoshi Gen did this very well. Madara Uchiha. Although there has been some improvement, his cold, poker-faced expression is still far removed from Yuan's incredibly approachable and adorable face. If it weren't for the fact that Yuan published Madara Uchiha's tragic story on the news headlines, some villagers would probably still be a little afraid of him. Lan sighed as she wholeheartedly assisted Ban and tried her best to realize Yuan's ideals. Hopefully, Madara can make a breakthrough in this area. So the next day, "Teacher, let's sit here." In a corner of the Cherry Blossom Park, Yukio laid out a picnic blanket, and the group took out their pre-prepared bento boxes and various snacks. Sulphur Fire by Miao, Feng Sha, Lei Yumen, and Xing Yan are all orphans and also members of the prospective Shadow Guards, so they naturally spend a lot of time together now. Ban looked around and saw many villagers enjoying the cherry blossoms. He also saw Isley and Lan picnicking with some guards and maintaining order. The only regret is, Bai Miao, Feng Sha, and the other three gazed sadly at the empty space under the largest cherry blossom tree. Nobody was sitting there, because every time the cherry blossoms bloom, their first village chief would sit under this cherry blossom tree with his family. But now neither Kiyoshi Gen nor his family has come. Could Sister Zyro Ari and the others have gone to Wangai Hill? Bai Miao looked at the empty seat and said subconsciously, "Probably." Fengsha also seemed a bit listless. After all, they enjoy the flowers together every year. There is also a cherry blossom tree on Wangai Hill, although it is still a bit small. Meanwhile, just as Bai Miao and Feng Sha had said, Mickey and her 6 daughters laid out mats in front of Kyo, Jen's grave, and looked at the sparse cherry blossom trees together. Numerous bouquets of flowers surround King Jingyuan's grave, representing the villagers' remembrance of him. Zyro Hui, let them plant lots of flowers next to Zyro Yuan. It will look nicer that way. Mickey stared intently at the tombstone, as if she were seeing her son's familiar face. Kyo Megumi nodded. When my brother wakes up, he'll be happy to see these flowers. Suddenly, Mickey was startled and cupped her smooth face in her hands. Zyro Hui, by the time Zyro Yuan wakes up, will I already be an old woman? If I become an old woman, I really won't have the face to see him. Why can't I refine chakra? If I could learn Yuan's flowing technique sealing, I wouldn't have to worry about this anymore. Zyro Hui quickly comforted her. Mom, it's okay. The scroll my brother left behind contains a method that allows even people without talent to refine chakra. Really? Mickey was pleasantly surprised. Yes, but it will take more time to study. Kyo Megumi nodded in reply. If they can really get their hands on that thing, Aunt Meifang will most likely be able to figure it out. But she couldn't go against her brother's wishes and influence Ban. We can only observe quietly. On the other hand, Ban accepted Bai Miao's suggestion and visited the guards and other subordinates at the Cherry Blossom Festival. Although it was just a simple greeting and a few casual words. After all, it would be too much to ask Madara to come up with topics to liven up the atmosphere. Teacher Ban, Brother Yuan visits schools and hospitals every now and then to encourage his subordinates. You should try it too. Page 41. Inspection. Diane nodded. Indeed, we should give it a try. Suddenly, Ban remembered that he hadn't really visited Genji much and said to the 5 little ones, Let's go to Wangekyu to see the source in a little while. Great teacher, X5. The gifts they prepared should be sent over now. The gifts will probably all be the same this time. Chapter 33, Ban's School Trip. The school is one of the most important areas in Churi village. The area here is very spacious, divided into accommodation areas, study areas, and many playgrounds. The learning area is where children learn the basic teaching materials and some theoretical knowledge compiled by the organizers. After half a day of learning, the children often go to various places in the village to help out and put what they have learned into practice. Hello, Mrs. Ota. In the morning, Madara Uchiha arrived at the school alone. The principal, a kind-looking middle-aged woman, greeted him. The principal's name is Ota Sako, a knowledgeable middle-aged woman whom Kyo Gen recruited in the Land of Fire. She was drawn to the school described by Kyo Gen and gladly became its principal, where she has now been teaching for 6 years. Her husband, Otomoto, was the manager in charge of the planting at the Sengo Kuro plantation, and he made outstanding contributions to the village's food supply. Both of them were highly valued talents and had a deep affection for Churi village, as if it were their own child. Hello, Mr. Ban. With her slightly graying hair, Ota Sako adjusted her glasses and led Madara into the school building. Is this also a lecture? Ban quickly shook his head. I just came to check on the children's studies. I've said it once, and that's enough. Ota Sako covered her mouth and smiled, then began to talk about what had happened at school recently. Everything is normal at school. With the barrier set up by Master Ban, we don't need to worry too much about the children's safety. The two walked through classrooms, observing the situation inside through the small windows in the doors. Ban had been here once or twice before, so he was quite familiar with the place. Looking at the teacher writing and drawing on the blackboard and the eager children, he couldn't help but smile. Coming here has made me feel much better. This must be the next generation that Jen wanted. In a 20-year plan, these children who have received education in thought and knowledge will become the cornerstone of a future unified nation. Seeing that Madara was clearly in a good mood, Ota Sako whispered, "Mr. Ban, how about you come over and take a look?" Madara Uchiha was somewhat puzzled, but he still followed the other person to another location in the school building. As he walked, he remembered that this was the area where art studies were taught. Just around the corner, a huge hand-drawn poster was plastered in the wide corridor. Wasn't that man with the spiky hair that reached his waist in the picture him? Moreover, this gesture was exactly the same as the gesture he made when he first took office as village chief and gave his inaugural speech to most of the villagers. The man above looked righteous, with sharp eyes, raising his right hand to promise everyone that he would lead everyone toward a better future, just like Yuan. What is this? For some reason, Madara Uchiha felt a surge of shyness. With such an obvious hand-drawn poster displayed in a high-traffic corridor, doesn't that mean all the children have seen this shameful poster? Didn't you know this was drawn especially for you by the children in the art department? Ota Sako made a surprised expression. Bai Miao even called me specifically to say that I came here today just to see this. Bai Miao. Now Ban understood why Bai Miao had recommended him to come to the school for a visit. Mr. Ban, there's no need to feel shy. Mr. Yuan was very popular with the children back then, and various portraits of Mr. Yuan are currently stored in the school's memorial hall. Who's shy? He wouldn't be ashamed that all the children in the village saw his portrait during his speech. Ban instinctively crossed his arms in front of his chest, his expression becoming even colder than usual. Speaking of which, there is now a portrait of Kiyoshi Gen in the office, and the statue of Kiyoshi Gen in the village square is also gradually being completed. I heard that they will paint his portrait and build his statue in the future. Mr. Ban, being honest with yourself is a required course. Ota Sako clearly saw through Madara's rather arrogant side. Humph. More importantly, where are Bai Miao and the others? Madara Uchiha decided to give them a good beating today. Ota Sako saw through Madara's vengeful intentions, but didn't expose them. She simply went to the window and pointed to the 3- or 4-year-old children playing on the playground. Mr. Ban, come and see them. Madara Uchiha's brow twitched, but he still walked over. As soon as he reached the window, his exceptional hearing allowed him to easily hear the sounds of children playing on the playground not far away. Hi, I am Uchiha Madara, the Asura of the ninja world. These mere grains of sand are not even half as good as mine. Would you like to dance too? 5 against 1, that's perfect for a game. Come on, make me even happier. The child waved his hand, and the children around him obediently fell to the ground. Snapped. Ban slammed his right hand hard on his forehead. What did he hear? What did he see next? Why would a child imitate him and do it so poorly? Sako Ota quickly pulled out the latest instant camera developed by the Research Institute of Technology. The precious scene of the newly appointed village chief, Uchiha Madara, covering his face in embarrassment, must be preserved. Crack! Ban raised his head and looked at the kind and amiable middle-aged woman. Did you think he couldn't see it if you put the camera behind your back? Who is he? He's the ninja world's most powerful ninja. He will never refer to himself as that thing again. This was a nickname given to him by his enemies who feared him. When did it fall to this state? Mr. Ban, the children play role-playing games because they like you. After all, this biography of the ninja world's shrew is very popular among children, especially boys. And with a warm expression, Otasako pulled a rather thin ninja novel from her bosom. This is a book personally written by Mr. Yuan and sold only in Hatsuri village. Lei Yumen used his recent earnings to buy 100 copies and donated them to the school, so many children have read them. Madara Uchiha trembled as he forced himself not to look at the book. He's made up his mind. Even if the Sage of Six Paths came today, those 5 rebellious disciples wouldn't be able to crawl back. Get ready to spend the night at the training ground. Upon seeing Madara Uchiha awaken his 3 Tomo Sharingan, Sako Ota silently mourned for the 5 children for a second. Mr. Ban, Bai Miao and Lei Yumen should be at the small training ground in the east right now. Swish. Madara Uchiha in front of him vanished without a trace. Page 42. Sako Ota took out the camera from behind her back and spat out several somewhat blurry photos. The quality is all right. We can sell it to a news agency. Let's use the money we got this time to buy some snacks for the children who behaved well. A kind-faced but ruthless principal hummed a tune as he returned to his office. Kiyoshi Gen's passing had a significant impact on the school, but fortunately, the new village chief was relatively easy to talk to. She returned to her office, looked at a portrait of Kyu Gen, and sighed. Hopefully, the educational vision described by this child will truly come true in the future. At the same time, Ryuyuka, Shirami, Keisa, Raimono, and Yukiwa, who were practicing ninjutsu at the school's eastern training ground, all felt a chill on their backs. Especially Xingyan, who had goosebumps all over his arms. Hiss tilde, Yukiwa. Quickly activate your teacher sensing ability. I don't want to get beaten up. Sulfur turned around and shouted at Yukiwa. Xingyan turned around and retorted. Where would I get some kind of teacher sensing ability? Yes, the incident that Madara encountered this time was a joint plan by the 5 of them. At first, Ryuga casually remarked, "What do you think Madara-sensei looks like when he's shy?" Thus, a 5-person team was formed, with Lei Yumen planning, Bai Miao and Feng Sha leading the way, and Xing Yan being pulled onto the pirate ship. Their principal was bribed by Rei Mikado and agreed to their request to film Madara-sensei's facial expressions. Let's get out of here quickly. Yukiwa felt his body trembling more and more violently, as if Madara-sensei was already beside him. However, his other 4 companions didn't seem to react to what he said. Okay. Suddenly, it felt as if a large hand grabbed my shoulder. Xingyan, whose idea was this? That familiar, chilling voice, that terrifying aura. Teacher, it was all Liu Huo's idea. Xingyan shuddered and betrayed the instigator without hesitation. Xingyan, you traitor. Sulphurfire clutched his head and howled in despair. Would he even make it back to the dorm alive tonight? Bai Miao and Feng Sha both kept their mouths shut, trying to minimize their presence, and even Lei Yumen kept his head down, as if no one could see him. Very good, my disciples. It seems you all have a lot of energy. I need to help you release some of your excess energy. Madara's 3 Tomo, sharing and spun incessantly, captivating all who beheld him. Don't worry. I have already called Fenris and the medical team over. You'll be all right. Babble. The 5 men trembled all over. That night, having vented his anger, Madara Uchiha finally put all those shameful things behind him. It's all thanks to these sensible disciples. Just as Madara was about to inform Otasako to have the disciples carried back, Fenris, who had been providing meals for the 5 children during this period, spoke to him. Ban, bring them to training ground number 1 tomorrow. It's time to take them to another place to exercise. Chapter 34, The New World. The next morning, Ban, who had postponed his work, arrived at training ground No. 1 with 5 disciples. Fenris, the leader of the Alu tribe, was already waiting for them there. He still wore a red headscarf and carried a great sword with a broken tip. Even with only his left eye, no one could ignore the sharpness in his eyes. Madara Uchiha keenly sensed Fenris's fighting spirit, which he found somewhat strange. Ban, the world I'm talking about can only be entered after we, El or Melalu, sign a contract. Fenris had his claws wrapped around his chest, his powerful muscles taut. According to the rules of our Alu, as long as you gain my approval as the clan leader, you will be qualified to go to that world. Meow. Wow tilde. Ban became somewhat excited. Ever since he sensed the tenacious aura of a strong person emanating from Fenris, he had wanted to try fighting him. That world. Lay Human began to ponder. I've heard that some special summon beast clans have their own territory. Could it be that El and Meryl are the same? Fenris and Aishatu were both summoned by the Source System, which also endowed their races with the characteristics and memories of summoned beasts. Similarly, some members of their clan can also use chakra. Ban, if you fight me and defeat me, you can sign a contract. Very good. He likes direct conversations like this. Ban's hands involuntarily opened, his fingers curling inward, clearly indicating that he was itching to use his skills. At the same time, Fenris's right claw gripped the greatsword on his back. Let's move away from each other for now. Yukii made this suggestion because he didn't want to get involved in the aftermath of his teacher's battle with Fenris. That can kill people. The 5 children quickly jumped back, and just as they reached the outer edge of the training field, a violent roar suddenly erupted from the middle. Boom! The hurricane it created made the surrounding tree branches rustle, and a person and a cat wrapped in a chakra cloak were locked in a stalemate in the center of the scene. Besides the chakra cloak covering his body, Madara also had a layer of blue samurai armor floating above his left arm, as if the armor of Susanoo had been condensed separately. Fenris gripped the greatsword with both hands and slammed it down hard on the blue armor, making a crackling sound. This is the eternal Manjakaiwu Sharingen. That's really impressive. To condense armor using yin release, truly worthy of being called the Sage's Eye, the pinnacle of yin release. Meow tilde. Ban observed Fenris's entire body's meridians. Although they were different from those of humans, there were still 9 star gates within them. It seems that Minamoto specially improved the flowing seal for Alu and Melalu. Celestial Eye. Yuan said that your Uchiha and Senju clans inherited the eyes and body of the Sage of 6 Paths, respectively, hence the names Sage Eyes and Sage Body. The Sage's Eye is the ultimate yin release, while the Sage's Body is the ultimate yang release. Oh, I see. Ban thought of the saying that repulsive forces can become one. If the Sage's Eye and the Sage's Body are combined, wouldn't that make one a sage? Could it be that the meaning of the stone tablet is to bring together the bloodlines of the 2 races and unleash the power of the immortals? Ban quickly dismissed these thoughts. We're in the middle of a battle right now. Susanoo armored armor, dance of the single blade. The chakra cloak transformed into a blue katana under the influence of the eternal Manjakaiwu Sharingen. Fenris keenly sensed the change in his opponent's strength, his greatsword piercing through the samurai's armor, and he slid back to create distance. The blue katana swung downwards, its massive blade seemingly capable of cleaving the heavens and earth, hurtling straight toward Fenris. Meow. As Fenris slid backward, the muscles in his arms suddenly bulged, and a massive amount of chakra poured into the greatsword. He doesn't know ninjutsu. The only thing he knows how to do is wield a sword. Its body, much smaller than Ban, leaped into the air. The greatsword spun 360 degrees in the air before crashing down with tremendous force. A blade slash. The chakra infused into the greatsword flew out with the sword slash, forming a massive sword aura that collided with the overwhelming blue light. Boom! The explosive force surged, sending dust and sand flying more than 30 meters into the air. The training ground trembled violently, leaving the 5 children watching speechless with astonishment. Page 43. This power is incredible. It's probably even more powerful than the S-rank ninjutsu described in the book. Hoo-hoo. Ban waved his hand, blowing away all the sand and dust in front of him. At this moment, Fenris was panting heavily, and the greatsword in his hand smashed into the ground, causing huge cracks. The front of the cracked opening is marked with grooves in the blade caused by the slashing. Although the power of their attacks was equal, Madara, who appeared to be handling the situation with ease, was clearly much stronger. Rather, Madara was somewhat surprised by the power of that attack. Although it is much weaker than the attack of the complete Susanoo, the armored Susanoo that maintains the size of a human consumes far less energy than the complete Susanoo and is much more agile. It's a fighting method that suits him very well. He also owes much of his knowledge and inspiration to the flowing technique seal and form transformation 4 states, which enabled him to improve Susanoo. Bandit, you're incredibly strong. Meow tilde. Although Fenris said that, Madara didn't see any fear in his eyes, but rather a strong fighting spirit. Just like Fenris had experienced many battles where the enemy was stronger than him. I'd love to fight with all my might after so long, but causing more destruction wouldn't be good. Meow tilde. Fenris sheathed his greatsword and subconsciously licked the fur on his paws. I accept you. I'll leave the contract with Alu to you. Meow tilde. Of course. The samurai sword and armor dissipated after turning into ordinary chakra, and so on. Madara Uchiha realized a very important problem. He's the one who damaged the training ground, so doesn't that mean he's the one who paid for it? Why wasn't it done before he became the village chief? Why couldn't he have held back a bit before? Ban felt an unprecedented sense of regret. You should know that after becoming the village chief, his high salary was gone, leaving him with only the meager wages due to his position. Only 300,000 taels of silver a month. Ban's lips twitched, and he warned himself that he must never use powerful attacks in the village again. Should we try to repair it, using earth release first? At that moment, an feline carrying a scroll quickly ran over on all fours. Meow. The cat spun 720 degrees in the air and landed on the training field. Fenris waved his claws, signaling Lei Yumen and his group of 5 to come over quickly. You guys sign the contract too, Meow tilde. The scroll was opened, revealing several names, all with the surname Ki, the first being Kyugen. Goodness. They wrote down all the sisters' names. Just put your hand on it. Meow tilde. Madara placed his right hand on the scroll, and the name and fingerprint of Uchiha Madara spontaneously appeared in the blank space. The other 5 people subsequently signed contracts as well. Okay. Fenris opened his left eye wide and said, be prepared to be channeled by a reverse psychic. As soon as the words were spoken, the 5 people and the cat turned into a wisp of white smoke and disappeared from the spot. The next moment, They arrived at an unfamiliar place. Here it is. Ban looked around and saw a large number of white Ilu cats and black Melalu cats dressed in various styles bustling around the small cat-themed building. This base, built within the surrounding massive rock walls, is a secret hideout exclusively for the cats. Meow Tilda. This is the base that we, Elle and Merrill, established together. Fenris explained. If you want to get out, you either have to cross the 50-meter-high stone wall or crawl out from there, Meow. Upon closer inspection, everyone noticed a small gap beneath the stone wall directly in front of the camp, just large enough for a person to crawl through. Outside is a giant tropical jungle, teeming with all sorts of creatures, far more complex than your world. It would be troublesome if we encountered a male Rathalos or a female Rathalos. With Madara's strength, there's no problem. Meow Tilda. Layuman frowned slightly. Does this mean we have to fight these monsters? Fenris nodded. That's right. Meow. The monsters in the ancient forest are excellent food, weapons, and building materials. The special food produced by the Research Institute is made from the meat of these monsters and the plants collected here. What you need to do is survive in the jungle, bring the monster corpses here, and we'll cook them to strengthen your bodies. Meow. This is the plan that Yuan made for you from the very beginning. From now on, you will act as monster hunters and strive to become stronger. Meow Tilda. Interesting. Madara Uchiha was very interested in the monster that Fenris had mentioned. Unfortunately, he couldn't leave the village for too long. Fenris, I'm entrusting my disciples to you for the time being. No problem. I'll keep a close eye on them. Meow. Sulphur Fire by Meow, Fengsha, Layuman, and Xingyan all had a bad feeling. It seems their days ahead are not going to be easy. Chapter 35, Closed Training. Fourth update today. ZZZ, ZZZ. The sound of steel wire rubbing against thick tree branches quietly rose up. With a tuft of fiery red hair on its head, Sulphurfire pulled on a steel wire with both hands, swinging rapidly through the vast, ancient forest. Catch that bird. We absolutely cannot let it steal the dragon egg we finally managed to steal. On the ground, Raimono, Keisa, Shiremio, and Yukimura all gathered their chakra in the soles of their feet and ran quickly across the stream. Ugh. Why didn't you watch carefully? Feng Sha complained to Sulphur Fire, who was in charge of guarding the spoils in the sky. How was I supposed to know there were such large birds that specialize in stealing eggs? Sulphur Fire released the steel wire, leaned forward, and fell towards the large bird that was running below. This large bird has pale yellow skin and short forelimbs with long, nimble fingers. It can hold a meter-tall egg in its hand. Those legs were strong and powerful. Although they didn't run very fast, their jumping ability was extremely strong, which meant that Liu Huo and his companions, who were unfamiliar with the terrain, had been chasing them for quite some time. However, the bird's extremely bright decorative feathers made it easy to spot, preventing them from losing track of it. Hateful. This dragon egg thief. Sulphurfire's body plummeted like an arrow, the wind pressure completely pressing down his hair, revealing his shiny forehead. He began to form hand seals, completing 6 seals in 3 seconds. Siwei Shen Hai Wuyin. Let this big bird see the ninjutsu personally taught by Madara, the Asura of the ninja world. Fire release, great fireball technique. Within Ryuk's body, the 5-star gates were connected, and the rapidly surging chakra gathered in his mouth. Boom! A fireball, 2 meters in diameter, hurtled towards a large bird more than 10 meters away. Chirp, chirp. The large bird was so frightened that it jumped up holding the dragon egg firmly in its claws, and leaped into the air, 2 meters high. Page 44. By meow. Lei Yumen shouted. Understand. By meow quickly formed hand seals. Water release, water binding. A stream of water darted out of the stream and wrapped around the large bird's leg. Lightning release, earth walk. Rai Yumen pressed his hands down, and lightning, flowing with the water, poured directly into the giant bird's body. Chirp, chirp, chirp. The electric current wasn't particularly strong. It only caused the large bird to convulse, but that was enough. Wind release, wind flicker. With a step forward, the wind around her seemed to become her aid, propelling her body forward at a rapid pace. Before the bird even landed, she was already in front of it. Chinese letter. The dragon egg was retrieved. Earth release, rock fist technique. Just as the giant bird crashed to the ground, Yukiai, who had arrived shortly after, leaped high into the air, his right hand already wrapped around a massive rock fist. Boom! Chirp, chirp. The large bird, struck on the head, let out a mournful cry and collapsed limply to the ground. At this moment, Sulphurfire, who had fallen into the small pond, also climbed out, and the 5 of them came to the side of the large bird. This bird doesn't look like it has much meat. Should we knock it out and take it home? Sulphur kicked the large bird on the head, venting his humiliation at having his eggs stolen. Those were dragon eggs that they risked their lives to steal from the fire dragon's nest. Raymond placed his hands on the bird's head, and a sudden burst of lightning completely stunned it. Take it back. It should be usable as material. We've been training for survival here for a month. It's time to go back. This extremely dense forest is built around a towering ancient tree that grows at its center. Hence it is called the Ancient Tree Forest by L. and Merrill. The stream they are in now flows down from the branches of a huge ancient tree. A single thick tree root was 5 or 6 meters in diameter, and the 5 members of Lei Yumen had not yet fully explored the entire giant tree. After a month here, their abilities have indeed improved significantly. Track the monsters designated by Fenris, hunt powerful monster lords, and conceal your presence to avoid the formidable male and female Rathalos. Although their opponents were not human, all 5 felt that their combat skills had been greatly improved. Out! A dragon's roar echoed through the forest, and Lei Yumen and his 5 companions instinctively concealed their auras. Let's go back quickly. Xingyan looked around. This was a small space covered by intertwined branches of huge trees, which a fire dragon of that size should not be able to enter. Well, let's go. Lei Yumen didn't waste any words. 2 weeks ago, when they first encountered the female Rathalos, they were almost wiped out. If the Palicos hadn't pushed them back in a cart, they might have really died. Well, it was because of that incident that they handed over a third of the food they hunted. I wonder how the teachers in the village are doing now. Meanwhile, with Kiyo Megumi's assistance, Madara Uchiha had finished his work for the day and began his practical training. Faster! Kiyo Ari's hand, which was holding a kunai and thrusting out, was struck by Madara with a ruler. The movement is wrong. It needs to be more concise. On the other side, Kiyo Megumi was practicing tree climbing to improve her chakra control, accompanied by Ran. Now she and Zyro, Ari, train as ninjas every day. If her other 4 sisters hadn't failed to refine chakra, they would have come along too. Kiyo Megumi, dressed in a practical outfit, lay on the ground, panting heavily. Zyro Hui, take a rest. Lan offered her advice with a touch of sympathy. No, it's nothing. I recovered quickly after eating something. Kiyo Megumi slowly got up, went to her backpack, took out a special rice ball and started eating it. Beside her, Lan shook her head and sighed. Compared to his talent in domestic affairs, Kiyo Megumi's talent as a ninja is only average. He might be able to reach the level of a jonin by simply waiting for the right time, but it would be too difficult for him to reach the level of an elite jonin. But she couldn't persuade them. The naturally intelligent Kiyo Megumi was well aware of her limited talent, but her desire to become stronger was too strong. Only by numbing herself with training could she ignore her inner anxiety. My brother is gone. She's the only one who can keep the family together. Kie Megumi understood very well that in order to ensure her brother's resurrection, she had to grow up as soon as possible and learn to be strong. She just needs to work a little harder so she can see her brother sooner. She believed that Zairo Ari thought the same way. Otherwise, she wouldn't train so hard and do things she didn't like before. Sister Lan, let's continue. Kie Megumi swallowed the rice ball in big gulps and glanced at Kie Ari, whose body was being repeatedly hit by the ruler. They all need to work harder. Meanwhile, Eshatu, the chieftain of the Melalu clan, who was originally serving as a guard for Kyogen, was searching the entire village. The barrier covering the entire village has been in place for a month, yet she still hasn't been able to find the murderer who killed her lord. Search. Keep searching. Check everyone again. Meow. The terrifying meows terrified the Melalis members who were on guard in secret. They have been conducting intensive screening for over a month, and their chieftain is still forcing them to continue screening the 20,000 residents. They were absolutely certain that the murderer was no longer in the village. But upon hearing the clan chief's stern threats, the team leaders could only let out weak cries as they prepared to lead their subordinates to conduct another screening. The patriarch's shock this time lasted far too long. This kind of hard work doesn't even come with any reward of Matsutake mushrooms. Aisha turned around, her sharp cat-like eyes observing her surroundings. The ripple-like chakra rapidly spread outwards, probing everything. Hateful. When she first heard that her master had passed away, she originally planned to hand over the position of clan leader to the next Melalis cat, and then follow her master in death. A loyal cat will never serve a second master. She only supports Uchiha Madara, but does not recognize him as her lord. If it weren't for the letter left to her by her lord, she would have followed him long ago. Since she couldn't commit suicide, she had to wash away the shame. Aisha disappeared from the spot and began searching once again the area within 1 kilometer of the village's barrier. At this moment, a certain dark figure was in great distress. Damn it! That ninja cat has already searched back and forth 50 or 60 times. Black Zetsu hid in the earth, not daring to peek out. Having been keeping a close eye on Uchiha Madara, he naturally didn't want to see Madara integrate into the village. So he got rid of the person who started it all. Who told that guy to be so weak? He didn't even need to possess him to rip that guy's heart out. But why is Madara still the village chief here? Given Madara's personality, he should have just left and tried to activate his Rinnegan to read the contents of the stone tablet, right? He absolutely hated Kyogen. Page 45. How can he save his mother if he doesn't develop the Rinnegan? Hateful. He won't give up. Just as Black Zetsu was about to show himself, he immediately noticed a cat rushing towards him. Hey! The next second, Aisha appeared in the forest, looking around. There have been some changes here. She lay down on the ground and smelled the scent. Damn it! It broke again. Aisha was furious and bared her sharp teeth as if she were about to bite someone. Black Zetsu, who eliminates his aura by merging with the land, is also quite annoyed. This ninja cat is completely at odds with him. Aye, if only he knew spacetime, ninjutsu. That way, they won't be blocked outside by this barrier that even seals off the underground. He's incredibly dark-skinned. They have an immense amount of patience. He's waited over 1,000 years, so he's not short of time. Just wait. He'll infiltrate sooner or later. Black Zetsu, having made such a vow, still failed to succeed a year later, in the 19th year of Konoha's reign. Chapter 36, The Battle of Fate, Part 1. It has been a year since Kyoshi-gen passed away. Churi Village is developing smoothly thanks to everyone's joint efforts. Today, Ban summoned all the high-ranking officials and announced something. That means he will be away from the village for at most half a month. During this period, strict control must be exercised over anyone's entry and exit, especially at the port, where the most stringent surveillance must be conducted. Most people did not ask why, but simply said they would do their duty. Uncle Madara, you're going to Konoha, aren't you? The silver-haired beauty, Megumi Kiyo, is becoming increasingly capable and already possesses the qualities of a leader. Uchiha Dazzle nodded. Within a year, he gained everyone's trust and began to try to trust others, especially Kyokai, who had helped him a lot in political affairs. I need to confirm something. Madara never forgot his goal of finding out the contents of the stone tablet at the Uchiha Naga shrine. He was always someone who sought to become stronger, and now, in order to unify all the countries, he needed to possess the power to overwhelm the world single-handedly. Even Hashirama couldn't stop him. Uncle Ban, ask my brother using your notebook. Kiyo Megumi reminded him. Notebook. Ban pulled out the not-so-large notebook from his pocket. Sometimes he would take it out at night and write some trivial things. To his surprise, the source had many answers, and many of the questions he wrote down received responses. Shall we give it a try this time? Yuan already knew he would return to Konoha, so perhaps asking him wouldn't be a bad idea. Madara picked up the matching pen and wrote on it, I'm going to Konoha. The laptop responded quickly. Are you going to find Hashirama? Yes. All the writing on the notebook was erased, leaving a long string of words. My advice is to consider all possibilities and be prepared for everything. Hatsuhi Village can't do without you, Madara. When we reach this position, we can no longer act entirely according to our own preferences. Kiyo Megumi came to Madara's side and saw the words on it. Uncle Ban, my brother meant to tell you to be careful. We can't afford to lose another village chief. We would be very sad if you left too. Ban was a little confused, then realized that his current situation was completely different from the past. As mentioned above, once you're in this position, you can't do things entirely based on your own preferences. The interests of Churi Village must be put first. His pursuit of power was also aimed at strengthening the military capabilities of Hatsushi Village, so that casualties could be reduced during future world conquests. His intuition told him that since the final contents of the Uchiha stone tablet required even stronger eye power to observe, the Sharingan must have undergone an even higher level of transformation. It might just be the true eyes of a sage, the Rinnegan. Therefore, he must seize this power. The key to obtaining this power was Hashirama Senju. Has he won against Hashirama now? Madara Uchiha wasn't sure. Even if he had already condensed 10 stargates, and the chakra stored within his body was more than 3 times his total chakra, Hashirama. He can't take the risk. We must be fully prepared. I see. Ban stood up and walked out of the office. I'm going to the Research Institute of Technology. When Ban arrived at the biotechnology research building that Meifang was in charge of, he went straight to a secret laboratory. As soon as he opened the door, he saw 10 Sharingan eyes with 3 Tomo each, stored in a nutrient solution container in the corner of the room. These are the eyes of deceased clansmen from the Warring States period, previously sealed in a scroll. He took them out half a year ago and gave them to Meifang for testing and research. After a series of actions, Madara swapped one of his 3 Tomo Sharingan eyes with his right eye, and at the same time used ninjutsu to disguise it as his eternal Mangekaiwu Sharingan. With his strength, he could use Susanoo even without the Sharingan, and his strength would hardly decrease even if he replaced one of the eternal Mangekaiwu Sharingan. Then he used a transcribing seal to seal Izanaga's technique into his right eye. That way, there's nothing to worry about. Meifang. As soon as the door to the secret laboratory was opened, Madara called out the name of the visitor. Lord Ban, you've arrived. Well, I'll leave my kaleidoscope here for now. You can study it in the meantime. Meifang nodded. Thank you. We will extract the cells from these cells to try and create a new drug. Previously, Meifang had extracted special cells from the 3 Tomo Sharingan. These cells can be made into medicines, which, when absorbed by the user through the heaven and earth furnace, can slightly enhance the spirit and increase the upper limit of physical strength. However, due to its high production cost and low cost-effectiveness, only 5 of Madara's disciples have tried to consume it so far. Madara left the research institute directly. Now he needed to focus on preparing for the battle to come. The next morning, Kiyo Megumi, Kiyo Ari, Rei Mikado, and others came to the village entrance to see Madara off. Uncle Ban, I hope you will try not to use the secret technique created by Brother Yuan this time. I think exposing the secret techniques to future enemies could very well have some impact on our hidden plans. Madara understood what Kiyo Megumi meant. In other words, secret techniques like flowing seal and heaven and earth furnace, which lack distinct characteristics, can be used, while iconic secret techniques like form transformation into 4 states are best avoided. For him, the latter secret technique was basically useless, and there was no need to use it. At that moment, 5 black cats of the Melalu clan suddenly fell from the sky, including the clan leader, Ishatu. Lord Ban, Zyro Hui, I'm here. Ban looked at the black cats with some confusion. Lord Madara, we will accompany you this time, and if necessary, we will secretly assist you. Meow Tilda. One of the 4 black cats, dressed as ninjas, explained this to Madara. He originally planned to go by himself. Page 46. Uncle Ban, take them with you. At this moment, Kiyo Ari took a step forward and looked at Uchiha Madara with a worried gaze. Uncle Ban, and all of you, you must all come back. I really don't want to see anyone else leave. Kiyo Ari's eyes were filled with glistening tears. Her sincere words struck Madara's heart. Really? A large hand covered Kiyo Ari's small head. Don't worry, I'm your Uncle Ban. No one in this world can kill me. For the first time, everyone saw a clear tenderness on Madara Uchiha's face. Some sign, there Japanese letter. Lei Yumen and the other 4 people stared in astonishment. The teacher, who usually had a stern face and pushed them to their limits, could actually show such a gentle expression. Thank you for your help. Ban bent down slightly and squeezed the black cat that had spoken earlier. Don't worry, I'll be back. This time, Madara did not look back. Wearing his old red armor and carrying the Uchiha flame fan on his back, he walked the road leading to Konoha. The 4 Melaru ninja cats silently followed. A gentle breeze swept by, ruffling the spiky hair of the spotted man. Unconsciously, a faint smile appeared on Ban's lips. This is the home he should be protecting. They are the family members who need his protection. From then on, his path to realizing his ideals was no longer lonely, because a large number of people believed in him and followed him. You agree, Yuan? Thank you for letting me experience this feeling again. From this day forward, I, Uchiha Madara, will be invincible. Chapter 37, The Battle of Fate Beginning. This is it. On a high rock far from Konoha, Madara Uchiha gazed into the distance. The entire village of Konoha is built in a lush forest. Konoha's abundant resources allow it to be self-sufficient in many natural resources, giving it a natural advantage over the other 5 villages. The thought that the Alu and Melalu races had an unknown and vast world made Ban feel somewhat happy. Compared to the others, their Churi village is still the best. If the situation I described occurs, then you can come and help. Okay. Meow Tilda. The 4 black cats of Melalu quickly disappeared into the forest, leaving no trace. A very clever hiding technique. Ban tried to sense the location of the 4 black cats, but found none. The Maralu clan is naturally adept at concealment, and these 4 elites are exceptionally skilled in hiding. Ah, it's time to begin. Spiritual communication. Oh. The 9-tailed fox, its entire body crimson, was summoned. The moment Kurama locked eyes with Madara, his pupils instantly transformed into the shape of a 3-tomo Sharingan, and he fell under Madara's control. With a leap, Madara landed on Kurama's head and grabbed the flame fan on Kurama's back. A single flame fan is enough. What Madara found strange was that he should have been excited to have another all-out battle with Hashirama. Although they had a strong fighting spirit, their morale was not particularly high. He placed his hand on his heart and suddenly understood. Previously, besides his ideals, the only person he cared about was Hashirama. But now he has more than just ideals. He has a large group of companions who fight alongside him. Between the columns. I do understand how you feel. However, since you stand on the opposite side of my ideals, a battle between us is inevitable. 9 tails. Roar. With the roar of the 9 tails, Madara unleashed a massive burst of chakra that swept towards Konoha. Spot. Suddenly, Hashirama Senju, who was handling official business with his younger brother Tobarama Senju in the Hokage office, looked up and smiled happily. Are you finally willing to come back? And many more. This aura. Hashirama Senju's expression changed, and he grabbed a large scroll from the side and jumped out of the window. Tobarama, I'm counting on you for the village. Big brother. Just as Tobarama Senju reached out his hand, the god of ninjas had already vanished without a trace. Uchiha Madara. Tobarama's face darkened. After a year's absence, given that man's personality, he definitely didn't come back for a vacation. We need to prepare immediately. Hateful. The Uchiha clan is inherently evil. Tobarama slammed his fist against the wall, gritting his teeth. Fortunately, he had already prepared measures to ensure that no other Madara would ever appear in the Uchiha clan. Are they here? Standing atop the charging 9 tails, Madara Uchiha sensed the rapidly approaching chakra of Hashirama Senju. It's time to put an end to this. The 9 tails opened its mouth, and a small-tailed beast ball rapidly condensed, aimed directly at Hashirama and the hidden leaf village behind him. The bursting orange-red-tailed beast balls swept across a vast forest until a giant wood-release hand firmly grasped one and shattered it. Boom! The surging air currents whipped up Ban's spiky hair. Unlike the violent explosion, his eyes were calm and unwavering, revealing a resolute determination in their tranquility. Madara. A giant wooden figure entwined with a wooden dragon rapidly rose up, and standing atop it was Hashirama Senju, who had removed his Hokage robes and was also wearing red armor. Hot Mom in Harbin. Madara Uchiha held a flame fan in his right hand and controlled the nine tails to charge towards the giant wooden doll that was coming towards him. What happened? Hashirama Senju couldn't understand why Madara had suddenly returned to the village and launched an attack on it. Is he trying to destroy their dreams? Madara offered no explanation, his expression remaining calm, a calmness that left Hashirama Senju utterly perplexed. It's like he's become a completely different person. Suddenly, Kurama opened its mouth again, and an even larger-tailed beast ball quickly formed. No, we cannot fight here. The spots must be drawn away. Standing atop the wooden dummy, Hashirama Senju clapped his hands together. Wood release, advent of the tree world. The rapidly growing, thick tree roots wrapped around Kurama's limbs, and the tailed beast ball that was about to be unleashed veered off course, directly shattering the upper body of the wooden figure. Page 47. Finally, the tailed beast ball flew into the distant sky and exploded out of thin air. Boom! The people of Konoha screamed in terror, shrinking back in fear as if attacked by a god. Madara. Hashirama Senju stared, wide-eyed in disbelief. If this tailed beast ball were any more powerful, it would have endangered the safety of the village. He gritted his teeth, his eyes showing no more hesitation. In a flash, he ran towards the coast, far from the village. That's it. Madara Uchiha controlled Kurama to follow, and occasionally interfered with the ground by using miniature-tailed beast balls, creating many small craters. His purpose in coming to Konoha was to preserve Hashirama Senju's flesh and blood, not to destroy the village. Moreover, Ban touched his chest. Yuan's notebook was right there. As Yuan said, war is not an end in itself, but merely a means to achieve it. Their future is to unify the world and enable the vast majority of people to live better and better lives, rather than to destroy the future of ordinary people. He is removing any obstacles that stand in the way of unification. The two arrived at the coast far from Konoha in no time. At this moment, Hashirama Senju stopped and stared at Madara Uchiha, who had a calm expression on his face. Ban, are you trying to make all our previous efforts go to waste? There will be no benefit in our fight. This battle will only harm the village and the ninjas, and it will only insult our brothers and comrades. Madara gazed down at Hashirama, his former best friend, but did not speak immediately. My mind has never been so clear. He was very clear about his purpose and why he was doing it. This is a clean break. A break with the past. It was also his last, all-out sparring match with Hashirama as friends. From now on, they will truly only be rivals. Hashirama. I am different now. Mighty armor, Susanoo. As soon as he finished speaking, the Nine Tails was covered in a layer of blue armor, and a ferocious helmet appeared on its head. Madara actually used Susanoo as armor to wear on a tailed beast. He's got some ideas. Hashirama couldn't help but admire it, but then he realized that the atmosphere was very strange. Madara seems to really want to destroy Konoha. I don't want to kill you, Madara. Madara Uchiha's expression was calm, and his tone was proud and confident. Hot Mom in Harbin. Do you really think you can kill me? No. We are friends, 3 and 6. Hashirama realized that what he had said was inappropriate and quickly tried to make amends. However, Madara Uchiha slowly raised his head, his eternal Mangekyou sharing and looking down at Hashirama Senju. Hashirama. I've said it before, I'm different now. As for the past, the present is just the past. I'm here today to sever ties with the past. Hot Mom from Harbin. Chapter 38, The Battle of Fate, The End. Why? Hashirama stared at Madara's indifferent expression, utterly perplexed. Why would someone react this way? When did Ban become so indifferent, just like his brother? They even want to sever the bond between them. Hashirama, if you don't attack, then I'll make the first move. Madara Uchiha picked up the flame fan and aimed it at Hashirama. He will end this battle as soon as possible and then go back. The Nine Tails, now covered by Susanoo, opened its mouth wide and released an orange red-tailed beast ball in the blink of an eye. Oops. Wood release, ranking technique. Boom. The tailed beast ball's extreme destructive power blasted a large gap in the entire coastline. Seawater rushed in, forming a small triangular bay. As the smoke cleared, a broken wooden shield shaped like a fanged demon's face opened, revealing Hashirama's figure. There's no other way. Hashirama Senju clasped his hands together, and a black patterned mask appeared on his face. Sage art, wood release, drew several thousand hands. Amidst a deafening roar, a Guanyin Buddha statue with countless enormous arms stood before the majestic nine-tailed fox. The Buddha statue is so large that even the 9 tails of the enormous creature are only the size of its palm. Even the giant wooden golem, which was only slightly shorter than Madara's complete Susanoo, was sitting cross-legged on the head of the cannon statue. Wow tilde. As expected of Hashirama, they can actually use such earth-shattering ninjutsu. Magical arts. This is the first time I've ever seen you use them. Madara Uchiha laughed excitedly. Let me enjoy this final, all-out sparring session to the fullest. Madara. Hot mom from Harbin. As the two men steered the massive objects beneath their feet toward each other, they seemed to rediscover the thrill of their past battles. Wood release, drew several thousand hands, top transformed Buddha. Susanoo sword, tailed beast ball, dance of blades. The countless giant arms behind the Guanyin Buddha statue loomed down like dark clouds, obscuring the sun. The 9 tails opened its mouth and spat out many small-tailed beast balls. These tailed beast balls were all imbued with the blade of the Susanoo sword, flying out like giant shuriken that collided with the giant wooden arm. The two forces continuously cancelled each other out, producing a loud, explosive roar. Many. At this moment, a large number of arms bypassed the fierce battle on the front lines and attacked the 9-tailed fox from the sides and behind. However, the 9-tailed fox only has one mouth. Therefore, all of these arms slammed into Susanoo's armor. A fierce roar and explosions rang out. A terrifying shockwave unleashed a violent storm, churning up the surrounding forests and sea. The dust from the explosion rose thousands of meters into the air, and no living thing dared to approach the area. This includes the black cats of Melaloo, who were terrified and huddled together several kilometers away. They never imagined that the battle between the two sides would be so terrifying, comparable to some of the natural disasters and monsters in their world. It's so big, so really big, it's terrifying. The fierce battle ended after it was about to break out. The countless arms behind the Guanyin Buddha statue were completely destroyed, and the Susanoo armor on the 9 tails body was also completely shattered. That's truly incredible power. At this moment, the Buddha squatted down and grabbed the 9-tailed fox. Madara also jumped off Kurama's head and watched as Hashirama subdued Kurama. The giant wooden figure atop the Buddha's head stood up, with 1,000 hands Hashirama on its head, clasping its hands together and then pushing its right palm forward. Page 48. Kuvan entered the city with hands clasped. The wooden figure leaps off the Buddha statue, its right hand bearing the character seat, resting on the head of the 9-tailed demon. Ninetales slowly closed its eyes, clearly losing consciousness. It's almost used up. The reason for bringing the Nine Tails was to conserve chakra. After all, the village of Hatsuhi didn't have the technology to develop and utilize the tailed beast's chakra, so the Nine Tails was left with only this much use. The next moment, Hashirama descended from the sky, and a huge ceiling scroll burst forth with a cloud of white mist, scattering a large number of weapons around him. He used that technique without even breaking a sweat. Immortal body. Madara Uchiha waved his flame fan with his right hand, assuming a fighting stance. Madara. Hashirama drew a katana with a white handle, the black mask on his face still intact. Hot mom in Harbin. You're not still thinking of saying something, are you? Before Hashirama could speak, Madara had already teleported in front of him and slashed down with his flame fan. Clang! Hashirama finally understood. His former best friend didn't want to talk to him at all. He only wanted to fight him. Let's defeat him first. He held a knife in his right hand and confronted Madara, while his left hand reached for another longsword. However, a blue light flashed, and a small piece of flesh was sliced off Hashirama's right arm. A tiny piece of flesh, no bigger than a thumb, flew toward the spot. A single handprint. Pocket sealing technique. In that instant, the chunk of flesh swiftly disappeared into the palm of Ban's left hand, forming a tiny sealing spell before vanishing into his skin. This is a D-rank ninjutsu invented by Genji. The original intention was to free ninjas from the constraints of small pouches, allowing them to store small ninja tools that could fit in a small pocket directly through their skin. Madara learned these D-rank practical ninjutsu techniques after only reading them once. Susanoo. Hashirama, whose right arm was covered in blood, was incredibly surprised to see the imposing Susanoo on Madara's left hand. When will Susanoo be able to be directly attached to Madara's body and allow him to use Susanoo's weapons? At this moment, Madara was not surprised to see the small cut on Hashirama's right arm quickly heal and stop bleeding. This is an extremely powerful self-healing ability that Hashirama had already demonstrated. Spot you. Madara carried the flame fan on his back. His hands were covered with Susanoo armor, and his long, narrow chakra katana looked incredibly sharp. The sage's eye represents the ultimate form of yin release, and Susanoo embodies it. Susanoo armored armor, dance of twin blades. Ultimate physical skills, ultimate dance. Ban wielded his sword with both hands, and the flashes of light from the blades cut rose-like marks into the ground and tree roots around him. Hashirama kept dodging, but all the weapons he took out were shattered, leaving only a katana in his hand. So strong. The power of the complete Susanoo is concentrated to the extreme, and the power of the sword light it unleashes is no less than that of an A-rank ninjutsu. Madara, did he really master this method of use in just 1 year? Hashirama Senju quickly formed a hand seal, and numerous tree roots sprouted from the soil, attacking Madara Uchiha. Hashirama. This isn't like you at all. With a flick of his twin swords, Ban sliced all the tree branches into several pieces. The chakra stored within his body was continuously surging out. Since the start of the battle, his stamina has barely been depleted. He remains in peak condition. This is also one of the effects of the flowing seal. His stamina will hardly be depleted until his stored chakra is used up. Madara took a step forward, like a dancing war god, relentlessly slicing through tree roots as he attacked Hashirama. Wood release. The world of flower trees descends. The huge flower buds and tree trunks grew rapidly, transforming this place into a sea of trees. Susanoo's sword, dance of a chaotic blade. A sudden flash of light from the blade sliced open the enormous flower bud. No matter how hard these tree roots are, they cannot stop the two Susanoo swords from cutting. If it were a katana from a fully fledged Susanoo, one could defend by deflecting the blade with bare hands, but Madara's current agility is far greater than when he used a fully fledged Susanoo. The only way to resist his wood release technique is through continuous growth. Hashirama. As he leaped into the air, Madara Uchiha, his twin swords gleaming with light, shouted, "This time, victory belongs to me." Chapter 39. A Knife Piercing the Heart. The battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. Although Hashirama wanted to wear down Madara, who didn't last as long as he did, with time. But this time, it was clearly beyond his expectations. Not only did Madara master the method of covering himself with Susanoo, but his endurance also significantly increased. Even after they fought another great battle between the complete Susanoo and the wooden golem, and even created a valley here, Madara still didn't seem to be exerting any effort. Instead, he had been suppressed for a long time under Ban's relentless and powerful offensive, and found it difficult to find an opportunity to counterattack. The two stepped into the stream, where the water rustled softly. The pattering raindrops pattered on the stream, which barely reached ankle level. Hashirama was panting heavily, while Madara remained calm, holding the Susanoo in his left hand and the flame fan in his right, though his armor had been shattered by Hashirama. This recovery ability is truly unmatched. Madara Uchiha used his Sharingan to observe Hashirama Senju, whose clothes were tattered and whose left-hand injury was beyond repair. He saw that Hashirama's chakra was still flowing out continuously. Although not many, there is a trend that shows no signs of stopping. If given a little more time, perhaps they can be full of energy again. Madara felt the chakra within his body. Even with the flowing technique seal, maintaining Susanoo for 3 days without interruption had exhausted his chakra, leaving him with no choice but to expend stamina to refine it. However, having achieved his goal, there was no need for him to continue the fight. After this encounter, he slipped up, got injured, and escaped. He then returned to the village to study how to combine the repulsive forces into one. If Hashirama stands in his way when he wants to unify the world, it's not too late to remove the obstacle. Madara straightened up, and Hashirama reacted just as quickly, holding his sword in his right hand and making a sprinting motion. Clang! The two exchanged blows, and the katana broke off at the moment it touched Susanoo. The knife tip fell with a thud. At the same time, Hashirama seemed to be unable to hold on any longer and collapsed into the water. Madara slowly turned around, his Sharingan reverting to normal eyes, and calmly looked at Hashirama, who was lying face down in the water. This time, it's me standing. Hashirama, I will never lose again. Hashirama Senju slowly propped himself up, looked at his reflection in the water, and murmured, "My dream has just come true, and I want to protect it. I can't let you have it anymore." Madara shook his head slightly, and the Susanoo sword on his left arm disappeared. "Hashirama, your face looks gloomy this time. They probably don't plan to release it." Puff! Before Madara could finish speaking, a samurai sword with a broken tip pierced through his heart. Madara Uchiha's eyes widened, and he turned his head slightly, unable to believe it. The person who pierced his heart from behind was none other than Hashirama. The pillars that fell into the water have turned into wood. Wood release clone. Page 49. Ban smiled sadly, speaking in a tone of relief. "I can't believe someone stabbed me in the back. Just as Yuan warned. I want to protect our village, protect my village. No matter what happens, I still firmly believe that protecting the village is equivalent to protecting the people, the ninjas, and the children. Whether it's my friends, brothers, or even my children. I will never let anyone who dares to oppose the village get away with it. Ban listened to the words behind him. His body went limp, and he knelt in the water. He lowered his head, staring at his own reflection in the water, his face contorted with intense heartache. Hashirama, we've all changed. You've got the priorities backwards. One day, this will become the darkness of Konoha. Madara Uchiha slowly closed his eyes and collapsed into the pool of water. If you were in Yuan's shoes, what would you do? Before losing consciousness, Madara thought of Gen and of Hatsuhi village, which he now cherished and wanted to protect. If he were in Hashirama's situation, what choice would he make? Hashirama Senju stared coldly at Madara's corpse. Suddenly, a feeling of powerlessness swept over him, and he couldn't help but kneel in the water. Looking at Madara with his eyes closed, Hashirama felt as if a heavy stone was pressing down on his heart, causing him immense pain. It's not over yet, he can't rest. The 9 tails must be sealed, and Madara must be buried by Madara himself. In the moonlit valley, with rain pattering down, Hashirama picked up Madara's corpse and weapons and slowly leaped onto the mountain above. That night Madara was buried, and then Tobirama Senju, who arrived at the scene, secretly dug him up with his shadow clones and hid him in a secluded place. But Madara Uchiha suddenly awoke, opened his eyes, and found that his right eye had turned white and lost its light. Master Spot. Ban found himself leaning against a tree, surrounded by the 4 mellaless black cats that had followed him. He gave a self-deprecating laugh and slowly stood up. Thank you for your hard work. Lord Ban is the village chief, and our duty is to ensure that Lord Ban can return safely. Madara Uchiha picked up the flame fan handed to him by Mellalus and carried it on his back. This wasn't exactly a pleasant experience. Honesty and mutual trust. Hashirama, even we can't do that, so how can we talk about making everyone in the world understand each other? At that moment, Ban suddenly realized something and took out the notebook he had been holding close to his heart. A knife mark was left on the top corner. Tusk. Madara Uchiha's face darkened as he channeled his chakra into it. Thank goodness, the sealing spell inside wasn't broken. Ban opened the notebook and saw a large character for pain and 2 sentences written on it. Take good care of your laptop, you bastard. It's very fragile. Remember to take it back and fix it. Don't let it happen again. A smile involuntarily crept onto Ban's lips. For some reason, I felt a little relieved. This is a one-time exception. Ban placed the notebook back against his heart. This will never happen again. Let's go back. Yes, X4. Ban leaped up and ran towards the direction of Churi village. I already miss it, after only 4 days away. In Konoha, as long as the god of Shinobi is there, the entire village will always be in a peaceful atmosphere. The Uchiha clan members were overjoyed to learn of Madara's death, but they were also very uneasy, fearing that the village's rejection of them would become even more severe. After bringing his elder brother back, Tobirama Senju secretly went to find Madara's body, only to discover that the body had been stolen. He wanted to search for it, but could not openly go against his elder brother's wishes, so he had to give up. Hashirama helped his wife, Maito Uzumaki, completely suppress the 9 tails, and Maito herself sealed it into her body. Seemingly to vent his pent-up emotions, he drank several jars of sake that night before finally resting after being scolded by Maito. He killed his dearest friend, who had become a stranger with his own hands. How could he not be in pain? Why did they end up like this? Tonight, both Madara and Hashirama were sullen and depressed. Just as the sun rose, Ban and Mellalus finally arrived at Hatsuhi village. To Ban's utter surprise, he actually saw a group of people at the door. Uncle Ban. Welcome home. Kiyoari, Megumi, their 4 younger sisters, Isli, Lan, and even Fenris were standing at the village entrance, waving to him. This is Lord Ban. We notified Lady Hui and the others 10 minutes ago. Meow Tilda. Madara Uchiha suddenly realized. Just as he ran to within 10 meters of the village entrance, Kiyoari suddenly jumped up and pounced on him. Don't fall. With a look of panic, Madara caught Kiyoari with both hands and gently put her down. Uncle Ban, I'm so glad you're back. And many more. What happened to your right eye? Kiyoari hurriedly touched Madara's body in a panic and found blood-stained fabric on his left chest and a small hole in his clothes. Oh, Uncle Ban, you haven't been injured here before, have you? Her wide eyes instantly welled up with tears, looking as if she was about to cry. Ban's mind went completely blank for a moment. His biggest fear is dealing with crying children. But he knew very well that Kiyoari was sad because she was worried about him. Zairo Ari. There's absolutely no problem. Isn't there no wound? The side effect of using the sharing and secret technique on my eye is that it will recover after eating a meal. After saying that, Madara Uchiha looked at Fenris with pleading eyes. Fenris raised his arms, revealing his powerful biceps. Leave the cooking to me. Meow Tilda. Madara breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Kiyoari's emotions were gradually stabilizing. Now you know, as long as I eat a proper meal, I'll be fully recovered. Oh, Uncle Ban, you must be lying to me. If I don't see Uncle Ban looking radiant later, then Sister Lan and I will forcibly take you to the hospital. Ban nodded in agreement. It's all right if you don't cry. It's all right if you don't cry. His originally cold face was now forced into a stiff smile. Ban pulled Kiyoari and the others into Hatsuhi village. Unbeknownst to him, his mental state had improved considerably, and the pent-up frustration in his heart was almost gone. Perhaps his adopted niece really does possess some kind of magical power. At the same time, 1 kilometer from the entrance of Churi village, a dark shadow peeked out from the ground. It turns out that Madara didn't die. It seems he even achieved his goal. Page 50. Is there hope for the Rinnegan again? Will he curse when he sees the stone tablet? The dark shadow that had just peeked out quickly disappeared into the ground. 3 seconds later, Aisha appeared and sniffed in confusion. Hateful. That persistent black cat. Chapter 40, Cell Research. The sun rises, and a new day begins. Someone is enjoying a rare day off work, instead indulging in delicious food and relaxing. Ah, Madara Uchiha, the gluttonous eater, is devouring meat to replenish all the energy he has expended over the past 3 days. Looks like we'll have to have a speed contest, Meow Tilda. Fenris and his kitchen helpers were busy at work, and by the time Ban finished eating 1 plate of meat, a new meat dish was ready. Thanks to his powerful culinary skills, he actually managed to get Madara to eat a huge amount of food without stopping. After eating for more than an hour, Ban pounded his chest with his fist and exhaled a breath of stale air. The furnace of heaven and earth. The sealing technique covering his digestive system with the infusion of chakra exerted a powerful effect, perfectly digesting a large amount of food and transforming it into pure nutrients that were injected into Madara's entire body. All 10 stargates were filled with newly generated chakra. Now I've fully recovered. Uncle Ban, I haven't seen your right eye turn back either. Ban was speechless for a moment, put his hand to his forehead, and thought about how to make an excuse for his niece. You'll see my right eye is back when I'm working this afternoon. I need to go to the Research Institute of Technology first. Megumi, who was also having breakfast at the Cat's Paw Diner, watched Madara's departing figure and quietly clenched her fist. Mei Fang, help me study the cells in the column and see if they can fuse with my cells. Inside the biolab of the National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology, NISD, 3 or 4 researchers are busy at work. Among them, Mei Fang, who is in charge, is observing the eternal Mangekyou sharing and left by Madara in the nutrient solution. Lord Madara, please place the body tissues you have collected here. Madara Uchiha placed his left hand on a glass container, and as the sealing technique appeared, a small piece of Hashirama's flesh fell into it. Mei Fang handed the small piece of flesh and blood between the pillars to her apprentices, who quickly placed it in a special container and sealed it with nutrient solution. How long will it take to develop a solution? Ban couldn't help but ask, as he really wanted to see what was behind the stone tablet. Within 1 month. We will attempt to match and fuse Madara's cells and the special cells extracted from the eternal Mangekyou sharing with Hashirama Senju cells. Mei Fang tried to explain in the simplest way possible. Considering that our current technology may not be able to discover the mysteries within cells, we will prepare another plan simultaneously. He nodded. The people in the Research Institute are all talents that Kiyoshi Gen painstakingly recruited from various places. Fortunately, none of the 5 major powers have ever paid attention to scientific research, which allowed King Jingyuan to take advantage of the situation. By investing 1/3 of Wanshinghang's revenue into research, the equipment here has been upgraded in just a few years, enabling cell-level research. Lord Madara, your eternal Mangekyou sharing has been examined and can be transplanted back. At this point, Mei Fang became very curious about Madara Uchiha's body. Even with the help of chakra to restore it, how exactly is it possible to simply embed it and use it immediately? As soon as she finished speaking, Ban placed his hand on his eye socket, as if he wanted to gouge his eyes out. And many more. Lord Ban, how about we conduct a physical examination for you first, and then replace your eyes? Ban hesitated for only a moment before nodding in agreement. It is good. Kiyokaya also said that he would rest for the morning, and the documents would be processed in advance, after which he could browse and check them. Bring it on. Then, Madara, wearing only a pair of shorts, lay on the research table in the laboratory, his body covered with what looked like electrodes. It's one thing to take off the upper body, but why do you have to take off your pants too? I feel so ashamed. But no one here paid any attention to Madara's perfect muscles and amazing physique. Wow, these physical stats are amazing. Is this even human? How amazing would it be if the eyes of a celestial being were those of a celestial being? The researchers got busy. Having finally gotten the chance to collect physical data on the legendary ninja, the Shura of the ninja world, they were all so excited that their eyes widened. The brainwave data is very different from that of ordinary people. Is it because the Uchiha clan awakened the Sharingan, or is it because Lord Madara himself is special? Lord Madara, please activate your Sharingan. Here, Madara activated his 2 eternal Mangekyou Sharingan, causing the data collected in the lab to become completely disordered. Doctor Mei Fang, it seems that our newly developed equipment is not yet able to collect data accurately. Mei Fang looked at the messy data displayed on the screen and nodded. Lord Madara, that's enough. We'll trouble you to come again once we've developed the new equipment. Several researchers rushed to Ban's side and removed the measuring tools from his body. Mei Fang, thank you for your help. Mei Fang shook her head. Lord Ban, this data is very important to us. Don't worry, we will investigate the characteristics of the stylopomas as quickly as possible. By this time, Ban had already put on his clothes. He picked up the repaired notebook and put it back into his chest pocket. It seems like it's been a while since I last visited him. For some reason, Madara really wants to see Jen. After bidding farewell to the researchers, Ban went alone to the commercial street and headed towards Wangekyu, located in the eastern part of the village. Lord Ban, which flowers should we buy this time? Because Yuan was buried at Wangekyu, many flower shops have sprung up in the vicinity. On days when people can pay homage to the source, there are always many people here. I'll take this bouquet. Ban pointed to a bundle of neatly tied white chrysanthemums. Thank you for your patronage. Wangai Hill is quite large, reaching a height of 100 meters, with the top layer roughly the size of 2 football fields. The stone steps leading to the summit are zigzagging and continue upwards. There are many decorative small stone pillars on both sides of the stone steps, as well as many crisp trees and colorful flowers. Walking across these beautiful, flat little terraces brings a sense of refreshing comfort. Upon hearing that this place wasn't yet called Churi Village, the newly arrived Kyo Jen took a liking to the hill and said he wanted to turn it into a hill park within the village. However, after 6 years, only a simple road was planned and built here, and no formal construction began. Instead, it became the burial place of King Jingyuan. Really good fortune. Ban walked along the not-so-wide road, slowly making his way up the hill, step by step. Ordinary villagers are not allowed to go to the top of the hill outside of designated times. But he's the village chief. He has special privileges. Therefore, he always chooses quiet times like this to visit someone. However, when Ban reached the top of the hill, 5 people had arrived there before him. Brother Yuan, we're almost at the level of Chunin now. I've started learning medical ninjutsu, and Feng Sha is slowly mastering the ninjutsu of gliding with the wind. Sulfur Fire now knows several fire release techniques. Rei Mikado is learning lightning release chakra mode, and Yukiwa has even grown 5 centimeters taller. Bai Miao knelt before Qing Jingyuan's grave and softly recounted the recent gains of the 5 of them.